just as we need to be able to sketch periodic functions, we need to be able to, from a sketch, to work back and find the equation or find the formula that fits. Here we have a periodic function that we need to come up with an equation for. So first of all, we look, and from 0 here, it looks as though our line of equilibrium has been moved to there. So the graph is actually starting at the, if the origin was up here, and it rises and falls. So it looks like it's going to fit into our category of a sine graph. Don't forget, sine graphs and cos graphs are interchangeable. Just a cos graph is a sine graph with a phase shift or a horizontal shift, and vice versa. So this could be a cos graph with a horizontal shift. So we'll just assume that it is no horizontal shift and it's just a sine graph. Now, our general rule for y for a sine graph is a sine b outside of x plus c plus d, where a is the amplitude, b, 2 pi on b is the period, c is the horizontal shift, and d is the vertical shift. Well, certainly it looks like we've got a vertical shift, so it looks like we've got d. There's been no sideways shift, so it looks like c is going to be equal to 0 because it is starting, if we move that straight down there, we're actually starting at the origin. So looks like c is equal to 0, and we can calculate then a and b. So a is the amplitude, and if we look at that, don't forget the amplitude is half the distance from the maximum value to the minimum, and so that's 2 units. So 2 units for the amplitude, so that'll be our a value. There's no flipping of the graph upside down, so it's certainly positive as well. Okay, 2 pi on b is the period. Now, just looking at this diagram, the graph from there to there is one complete cycle or one complete period, because at that point the graph starts repeating itself. So it is 4 units. So 2 pi over b will be equal to 4. 2 pi on b, this is on b, 2 pi on b is equal to 4. Now we need to make b the subject. So what we can do, a quick way to do that is just to switch those two around. When the unknown's on the bottom of a fraction, we can go to just a single fraction or number there, we can just switch those two around. You can multiply both sides by b and then divide both sides by 4. You'll still get there in the end. So you've got 2 pi on 4 equals b, and cancel down, so you get b is equal to pi on 2. So there's my b. We've already ascertained is horizontal shift, and because there is none, we get c equals 0. And d is the vertical shift, and it looks like my equilibrium line has moved up from here, the t-axis, up 4 units. So d is equal to 4. And so we can now just write the equation. So we've got y equals a is equal to 2 sine b is equal to pi on 2 t, because well, we've got something in terms of t here, so instead of x we will have a t there. C is equal to 0, so, and then d will be equal to 4. So that graph is this graph up here is best explained by that formula or that equation. So the steps are pretty straightforward. This is critical to remember, to know that is the general form of all sine and cos graphs, then to know what effect on the basic sine graph that A, B, C and D do. You need to remember all those steps, and to be able to work through them, to be able to work either sketching or given a sketch to come up with the rule or the formula.